Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a very big snowstorm which is going to be going through portions of the Midwestern United States. In fact, this has already been named Winter Storm Constance from the Weather Channel, and they've already named this. This is the third named winter storm of the season, and it's definitely going to be a major one. We already have ice storm warnings, winter storm warnings, and winter weather advisories, as well as severe thunderstorm warnings, only about 150 miles apart from each other. So we have winter weather advisories on one side of the storm and winter storm warnings, and we have severe thunderstorm watches and warnings on the other side of the storm. This is a very dynamic system. We're going to be playing out the simulated radar as well as some of the severe weather aspects of this, how much snowfall is expected from the models, and then how much snowfall I'm expecting from my forecast. So here is the current National Weather Service office page, and we're looking at some watches and warnings in the form of freeze warnings for portions of Central California. We see some winter weather advisories for the Northwest, as well as an area from Minnesota and Wisconsin southwestward into Nebraska. We see some ice storm warnings just scattered about through Iowa, Nebraska, and Minnesota there, with some winter storm warnings in effect for portions of Wisconsin, Minnesota, a little bit of Iowa, and a little bit of South Dakota. We also see some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for portions of eastern Missouri, as well as some severe thunderstorm watches in that pink shade for portions of western Illinois, eastern Iowa, and also northeastern parts of Missouri. We see some wind advisories further east of there in that brown. We see flood watches in southern Florida, as well as some high wind warnings in southeastern Wyoming, and that wraps up the watches and warnings page. So let's start looking at the simulated radar, then we'll look at the total snowfall, and then we'll look at some of the severe weather aspects of this a little bit later on. So this would be right around 2 p.m. Central Time. So this is basically right as this video would be getting uploaded. So this is basically a good view of what's happening right now. And we're looking at some of that snow for portions of South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota. But then you see that larger area of mixing and rain further east of there. And that mixing could also be an issue. You might even get up to 1/10 of an inch or so of mixing. And that could definitely pose a threat. Now, here would be by right around 5 p.m. Central Time. Here would be by 8 p.m. And we're looking at really one big cluster of heavy snowfall, and that'll be moving ahead of this larger area of less heavy snowfall, but still moderate, light to moderate snowfall that'll still accumulate with those falling temperatures. So you're going to see, again, that one band and that one cluster of very heavy snow, and that'll move northeastward ahead of the lingering snowfall, which would be all behind there. We see those thunderstorms moving through portions of Illinois and Wisconsin by this point, just a straight line of thunderstorms. And what we really want to watch out for is these thunderstorms. Wherever these types of thunderstorms pop up, where it's just these little dots of very heavy precipitation, that could indicate maybe a couple of isolated spin-ups in terms of tornadoes, and that could definitely be a big risk. If you don't see tornadoes, you might see hail, or those usually bring some very damaging wind gusts and some heavy rainfall. So a lot of different issues with this storm. Then as we continue forward, look at that area of and that cluster of very heavy snowfall. This would be by right around 9 p.m. tonight. We're looking at some of that heavy snowfall for northernmost Wisconsin and northeastern Minnesota. And then again, behind there is where you're going to see that light to moderate area of snowfall, which is much larger, but it's not accumulating as fast as this narrow band. So you might have 2 hours with that big band, and then you might have 6 or 7 hours in that smaller band. The rain is off to the east by this point. As we continue forward here, this would be by midnight tonight, and we're looking at that snow moving through portions of the northern Great Lakes and in the western Great Lakes as well. And then it's really getting out of here as we start to get to right around 3 a.m. and it's all said and done with as we're getting to right around 6 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So here's the snowfall totals from the NAM 3Cam model, and I'm not going to show any more models for the snowfall just because most of them have pretty much a very similar outlook to this, and the NEM3 cam model is the highest resolution of all of them. We're looking at 6+ inches in that purple, 2 to 6 inches in the blues, and under an inch to 2 inches in that gray. And once you get into the pinks, that's where you're right around 10 inches plus of snowfall. So we're looking at a decent snowfall, and you see where those bands set up over parts of eastern Minnesota, you got into quite a bit of snowfall. We also see a lot of snowfall out further to the west in Iowa, southwestern Minnesota, parts of South Dakota and Nebraska. So we're going to see a couple clusters of heavier snowfall, and I think these are the two areas that are going to get the most snowfall, right around here, and another pocket in southwestern Minnesota and the areas surrounding that region, and then generally 2+ inches all the way from portions of the northern Great Lakes southwestward into Nebraska. So that's your general forecast, and I'll have my full forecast at the end of the video. So let's start talking about the severe thunderstorm risk with this. We currently have a slight risk in effect for portions of southern Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, northeastern Missouri, and northern Illinois, with a marginal risk surrounding that. Now, here to be your tornado outlook: 2% chance in the green, 5% chance in the brown. And I know 5% doesn't seem like a lot, but when you really look at it, that is quite a high chance. That's a 5% chance that anywhere within 25 miles of a given location will see a tornado. So there's probably a decent chance that there's at least one tornado within this 5% region. Make sure that if you have a tornado warning down, that means that they've spotted a funnel cloud, or there's some sort of radar indication that there is a tornado, or a storm chaser has found a tornado and reported it to the National Weather Service. So once you get that tornado warning, that's when you have to go to your basement and interior room. That's when you really have to take caution. Severe thunderstorms warnings aren't as severe, but you still have to take caution. Close your windows, make sure that you're away from your windows in case something comes through the window, and those are usually issued when there's a decent shot that you'll see some severe winds and some hail potentially, and it's just a very severe thunderstorm. Now, here would be your wind outlook, and around a 15% chance for that as well, and no chance for hail within these regions. Hail looks to be on the lower side of things, but if you do get into a good tornado cluster, you might see a little small hail. Now, here would be the severe thunderstorm watch for this, and just kind of giving you a better look. On the bottom right, that's your current radar. On the left-hand side, that's the severe thunderstorm watch area, and then in the top right, you're seeing those probabilities. So, probability of 2 or more tornadoes within the watch area, you have a low chance, 20% chance, and the probability of seeing 1 or more strong tornadoes, which is EF2 to EF5, is a 5% chance. Probability of 10 or more severe wind events, 60% chance. Probability of 1 or more wind events that have 65 knots or greater winds, low, around a 20% chance. And for hail, both of them are low, 5 to 10% chance. And your combined severe hail and wind outlook, you have a 70% chance of seeing that, and that's 6 or more combined severe hail or wind events. So definitely, it's a very, very dangerous event, and I really want to point out, look at this cluster of storms going through Missouri right now. That is headed eastward, and that is looking like it's a very dangerous cluster, and you're going to see more of that isolated thunderstorm threat as you get further north into Iowa and Wisconsin. And you also have to pay attention with that. And then the lighter greens, that's where you're actually dealing with snow as you get further out to the west. So here would be the mesoscale discussion for the snowfall. Now, this is mesoscale discussion number 1779, and we're looking at periods of heavy snow within this pink area, and then these are kind of the lines of temperatures, and we're looking at 28 degrees or lower for temperatures anywhere northwest of this area. So all of this snow will be accumulating for the most part. And then here is your the previous mesoscale discussion, which is still outgoing, and this is for 0.05 inches per 3 hours of freezing rain is expected, and probably right around 1/10 of an inch is a good estimate in terms of freezing rain with this event. So here would be my personal snowfall forecast for this event. This is going from today all the way until tomorrow, but this is really only going to be going on until about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning Central Time. Then it should be all wrapped up with mountain snow for, of course, the mountains, and mainly that is not from this system. Most of the snow in the Rockies has finished up with this system, but we have another system going into the west coast, and you guys could see a little bit of snowfall out of this, and then under an inch for many of these regions. This is where where I'm expecting a dusting, a coating of snowfall, and that includes northern Montana, western North Dakota, as well as another area. That area in North Dakota and Montana really isn't from the system, it's from a different system, but I still want to include it on this map. Under an inch of snowfall for this system is for parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, down through Iowa, even portions of eastern South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas there, where I think you might get maybe a closer to a dusting of snowfall if you're just in this region. 1 to 3 inches of snowfall, that's one area for western Montana, but then this system is going to pump out 1 to 3 inches for this area of northern and northeastern Nebraska, southeastern South Dakota, northwestern Iowa, much of central, southern, and eastern Minnesota there, and then northern Wisconsin, western UP of Michigan, looking at 1 to 3 inches. If you're in this darker blue shade, that's where you're expecting 3+ inches, so up to 6 inches in these regions, and this includes parts of South Dakota, Iowa, much of central, well, really southern to eastern Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin, and the westernmost UP of Michigan, looking at 3 to 6 inches there, and then 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. One pocket in southwestern Minnesota and the areas surrounding there, and another pocket right around the Great Lakes for portions of northwestern Wisconsin and northeastern parts of Minnesota there. That's where I'm expecting over half a foot of snowfall, but I think it'll be closer to 8 to 9 inches at the peak, at the maximum of this system. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.